Hello, and welcome back to Wine Form Mini-sode. Alright, so today on this mini-sode I'm going to be showing you guys something you can do with wine that doesn't involve drinking it. There's a growing number of people who want to not drink, and honestly, more power to them, because while wine is delicious, alcohol can do things to your body that some people just don't want, and that's totally fine. In the case that you are someone who doesn't want to drink wine, but you'd still like to enjoy wine somehow, well, I have a solution for you. As we are approaching Christmas, that means that we're probably, for those of us who do like to drink, we're probably going to open a bottle of wine. And if we don't finish it, what do you do with the leftovers? Something to note is that open wine only lasts for a week in the fridge before it starts to go funky. Something that happens to wine over time is it oxidizes, which means that while we do want a little bit of oxygen to interact with our wine to begin with, in order to introduce some really fun flavors and aromas, too much of that and the wine's gonna go rancid. That's how it goes bad. We are gonna be making wine salts. So wine salt is something that I have been seeing more of in specialty spice shops. And the fun thing is, you don't have to spend a premium to get a delicious wine salt. Wine salts are really good for meats and rubs and stews and anything you're gonna season with a salt. It has a bit of an added bonus when you season it with a wine salt. So to make your own wine salt, there are only two simple ingredients you need: sea salt, and the second ingredient you will need is wine. Now, I have a lot of this wine because this is a really delicious wine that I made with my mom. It is a Cabernet Shiraz, and I love the flavors so much that I thought it would be really fun to put into a salt. If you have an open bottle of wine, I would use that one instead, obviously. But yes, any red wine will do. And notice I say red wine, and that is because red wine has tannins and it has a bit more body to it, which lends itself well to reducing it into a sauce and mixing it with the wine salt, or with the salt. So those are the only two ingredients you need. You will also need a medium saucepan or pot, preferably one with a thick bottom because you will keep this on the stove for a while. You will need some sort of rubber spatula or utensil. I say rubber only because I don't like the sound of scraping metal on metal. So that'll help. And then you will need a cooking sheet and parchment paper and a fork. Yes. Or the method that I'm going to be doing, you will need a saucepan, a rubber spatula or spoon, and a dehydrator. So voiceover Alessandra is going to walk you guys through the steps I took. The first thing I did was I poured half a bottle of wine into a saucepan and I started cooking it on medium heat. Now, I don't know how long it would take depending on where you are in this world, but where I am, it took about an hour to reduce this down to a thick enough sauce that I could go ahead and add the salt. Now, they say a watched pot never boils, but I say a watched pot never reduces, so I walked away for a bit, and when I came back, it had reduced enough that I could start adding that salt. What I noticed was the recipes I found online were actually quite mistaken. It took about a cup and a half of salt for half a bottle of wine, and there you have it. It looks a lot thicker, much better. Now, because I am impatient, I took it over to my dehydrator. I put it on a regular fruit or veggie setting, which is about 135 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't ask me what that is in Celsius, I don't know. And I just spread it out evenly on the tray. At this point, you could put it on a baking sheet with parchment paper and let it sit that way, but dehydrator is faster. So 24 hours later, and I got to open it up and see the dried salt. And right now it is chunky. What I did not show you guys was about in the middle of the night, I had a little bout of insomnia, and I came over to the dehydrator and opened it up just to check on it.
And yes, it was even chunkier. I did have to break it up. And here you go. So now that it is dried, I can put it in my jar and give it a good shake, shake, shake to break it up even further because, you know, it's salt, it'll do that. And all I had left was to get the last bit of these salty granules that I could manage to get off of that little tray without, you know, spilling it everywhere. And here you have it, Cabernet Shiraz wine salt.
And we're back. 24 hours later. Ta-da! Cabernet Shiraz wine salt. I did end up adding a little bit more salt to the mix because, you know, it wasn't salty enough for me. I think it was getting liquidy and I really wanted to make sure that the salt came through and it wasn't just a salt and wine solution. Here it is. I look forward to using it on my mom's special Brussels sprouts, on any steak, or any, perhaps in a vinaigrette. I think it would be quite delicious, and I'm gonna try a little bit, even though it's salt. Teeny tiny piece. Oh yeah. So it's got the, oh that's good. I like salt. So it definitely has the acidity of the wine. I think that it's gonna lend a nice layer of complexity to any flavor sensation, and that was a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me for this mini-sode making Cabernet Shiraz wine salt. You can use any red wine that you have left over that you'd like to use. I think it works really well for any last-minute Christmas gifts. Hint, hint, hint. And overall, it's just a really good time. I highly recommend doing it for yourself. Yeah. So if you like what you're seeing, give it a thumbs up. If you really like what you're seeing and you haven't done so already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And in order to be alerted of when I drop videos, hit the bell icon because sometimes, you know, things get a little out of whack. It's how you can know when I release a video. As the holidays are coming up, I will be taking a couple weeks off around Christmas and New Year's for, you know, personal reasons, just to spend time with the family and maybe restructure the channel a little bit. We'll see how that goes. Fun things coming up for the new year. Look forward to sharing them with you. In the meantime, I will say farewell and I look forward to seeing you guys again this Friday. Bye-bye.